seals can't. They need snow. Seal skin right here. And it's a nice soft furry texture. So the seals are all fur. And you can touch this if you want to. Step right up.
Can't drop it. You want to touch it? Can't do that. See how it feels fuzzy?
This here's Jamie when he was just a couple of hours old. A newborn baby seal. And you can see why the newborns are growing white coats. They've got a nice soft yellowish white fur. And they blend right into the snow, so that protects them from predators, especially polar bears. They love to go after baby seals. This was nursing from the bench was his mother. Carp seals produce a nice thick milk in the other nurse for about 3 weeks.
Those are the 2 feet, just like we saw with starfish and all those things.
Now right here, this is Jamie, exactly the same seal, just 2 weeks later. He's fattened up a lot. A harp seal's milk is 45% fat. They can gain weight in a big hurry. The milk you get at the supermarket is only 1 or 2% fat, or maybe even less than that, so the real healthy stuff. And almost all the weight that Jamie has gained is in the form of blubber. And we've got some blubber right here from an animal harp seal. So blubber is a thick layer of insulated fat, and all these seals have got that right under the skin. So blubber helps keeps these guys warm, because they live in the north where it's cold the whole year round. Also, of course, fat floats, just like that. So blubber provides buoyancy so you can swim more easily in the water. So, seal fat. This is baleen from a humpback whale. Now baleen is made of something called keratin. That's the same stuff that's in your hair and fingernails. So to me anyway, this looks like a big black fingernail. Baleen hangs from the roof of the whale's mouth just like this. And there's dozens and dozens of plates of this stuff, so it rings the whole upper jawbone like a big set of teeth. When these guys are feeding, what they do is they open their mouths real wide and they take a lot of water inside. Then they push it out again with their tongue. And as the water gets pushed out, tiny animals like plankton and krill, and even small fish like capelin will get caught on these frayed, hairy edges right here. And the whale can just gulp that stuff down, and that's what they eat. So, right here is a jar of whale food. This is krill. Krill are tiny crustaceans. They look like little shrimp, as a matter of fact. So even though whales are really big, they eat things that are very small, like this stuff right here. And of course, the biggest baleen whales have to eat hundreds and hundreds of kilograms of food every single day. Something like a blue whale, as a matter of fact, will eat 2,000 kilograms of food a day, 2 tons of food every day. So they have incredible metabolic demands. A lot of people ask, how come whales, which are so big, eat food like this, which is so small? The easy answer is that there's always lots and lots of this stuff in the ocean. There's a huge supply and it never runs out. And whales, because they're so big, always need a constant supply of food. So by adapting to this filter feeding lifestyle, they've assured themselves of always having lots of food available. And that's why they eat things like plankton and krill. It's a massive resource. And they exploit it very well.
Okay, the next thing is hermit crabs. And the hermit crabs steal their shells from the snails. They have a soft tail.
Right here we've got some pictures of tails from humpback whales.
They steal them from snails.
Of course, humpbacks are the most common whales you can find in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Hold them here, you're okay. Hold them
So
right
in
there.
these 15 photographs right here, you can see that all whales have got nice patterns of light and dark.
This here is a bobcat.
You want to stand up there so you can see, because somebody might stand in front of you.
Culture research that goes on at the Ocean Sciences Center. Aquaculture is the same thing as fish farming. It's farming the ocean. So, of course, the species we're most interested in farming around here are Atlantic codfish. And that's these guys you see swimming around right here. These are all juvenile Atlantic cod. They're a year old or less. You'll see more of these later on the tour. I'll have more to say about them later. All along the bottom, there's some flatfish in this tank. These are yellow-tailed flounder. Another flatfish that we're aquaculturing at the Ocean Science Center is the halibut. There's some information about halibut aquaculture right here. But I don't really have time to go into it right now. But if you're interested, you're welcome to stop and read it. We've also done a lot of work at the Ocean Science Center with shellfish aquaculture, mainly mussels and scallops. And that's these guys right here. These are blue mussels hanging from these socks in the tank. And again, there's information on this wall on shellfish aquaculture as it relates to the scallops, but I don't really have time to go into it now. In fact, we're going to move right to the test tank if no one has any questions. In the building right now. I think the easiest way to do this is I'll explain the animal, then I'll pass it around. So anybody who wants a chance can hold it and touch it then. I'll start with the starfish. This right here is called a common sea star. It's got 5 arms. This is probably the starfish that you've all seen before. I'll pass him around. There's no wrong way to hold a starfish.
And those monitors, some of their eyes are turned over and some of their eyes aren't.
And I'll pass one around this way too, so everyone can get a chance.
Some of them are. This here is a scallop. You can't hold it.
Gray moon. And that's where the name comes from. This is a moon snail. And the foot is exceptionally slimy, so make sure you touch that to see how gross they really are. There's only one of these guys, so... I guess that most of the lobsters you've seen before are kind of greenish brown. That's where we keep some of the bigger animals that are in the building right now. And make sure you keep your fingers out of the water, because some of them will bite. So, of course, this is another kind of crab right here. It's much bigger than the ones you saw in the touch tank. He's called an Atlantic king crab or a spiny king crab. And this thing is kind of a deep water crab.
It's okay, guys.
No, you're not going to have to touch him, don't worry. I wouldn't recommend it. He's got a very hard spiny shell. You can see that right there. This guy lives in waters that are about 200 or 300 feet deep, so you don't ever find him near the seashore. We don't fish crabs like this around here. The kind of crabs we fish are snow crabs. They're about this big when they're fully grown, but they look a lot different. They've got 4 pairs of legs, not 3 pairs like this one right here. So this is the king crab. You also might have heard something called the Alaskan king crab before, but this is not the same animal. It's completely different. They don't even look the same. So that's the crab. And crabs, of course, are crustaceans. Another kind of crustacean is the lobster. That's this guy right here. Nice yellow-colored lobster squirting away in that direction. Behind him, there's a big brownish lobster in the corner. Kind of have to bend over to see him. Then over here on the side, there's an orange-colored lobster. So we've seen lobsters that are blue, orange, yellow, and brown. And this is just natural variation in the population. There's nothing unusual about it at all. Basically, lobsters make 3 pigments, a red, a yellow, and a blue. Generally, they all kind of mix together, so you get this kind of greenish-brown color you see on this guy right here. But that is by no means the only lobster color that's available. Depending on genetics or local environmental factors, they can express all kinds of crazy colors, and that's where you get a blue or a yellow lobster. The blue one is probably the rarest. Although I saw in the news about a month ago that they found an albino lobster in Nova Scotia, no pigmentation at all. So there's lots of odd things going on out there. And those are the lobsters. Now, this fish right here is a bit different from all the rest. Anybody know what this one is called?
Lionfish.
It's not a stingray, but that's a really good guess. It's a close relative of gray called a skate. That's a thorny skate. It's called thorny because it's got a nice row of spines and thorns along his back. You can see that right there. These guys are related to the sharks. And these are all fish that have a skeleton made out of cartilage. Cartilage is the same stuff that's in the bridge of your nose and your ears. It's a nice rubbery protein. So they're very flexible animals.
Whoa.
And if you've ever had fish and chips in Great Britain, they probably made it with an animal like this. They don't give you codfish.